Right now, some of the world's most powerful souls are being activated, called to step up into their purpose. But the way this often happens is not like what you would think. Often before you get that flash inspiration, when you have that clear download, that knowingness of what you're meant to do in this life, your next chapter, there can be a season of contraction, a season of disillusionment, feeling cut off, feeling confused. It can feel like you've missed out, like you've missed your moment almost. Like life is just carrying on without you and you feel behind and you don't know why. You might find also that certain things in your life that were once okay, felt good, felt in alignment, for reasons you don't understand, no longer do. And something that may have been very satisfying can feel empty. It can feel like it's off, wrong for you. Oftentimes, this season carries with it a lot of information, a lot of insight into what's not working, without any even glimmer of an idea of what might work, of what might replace the many things in your life that suddenly feel out of alignment. And during this time, when you have all of this on your plate, you might even feel like your intuition is on the fritz. You might feel like you're used to getting more guidance in times like this, and you feel kind of cut off and you don't know why. And this period oftentimes precedes a period of great activation, the polar opposite of everything I described. While right now you might feel lost and stagnant, you're probably a lot closer than you think to feeling activated, charged up, and ready to rock and roll. And most importantly, enjoy what you're doing. This is how the transformation cycle works. You've probably been through this many times before. But right now, a lot of the most powerful souls are going through it in kind of a big and even a humbling way, myself included. And this video is for you. This video is going to describe what it's like to be in this season and how to make it finally shift. Sometimes it just happens. And sometimes there are things we can do in order to sort of expedite the process quite a bit. And if you're watching this video, at this point in the video, I'm guessing you are one of the people who did in fact come here to help. Dolores Cannon, this well-known hypnotherapist, she talked about this. She talked about the 3 waves of volunteers. She talked about souls that were sort of given an opportunity on the other side to come here to Earth now at this exact time because they had something unique to offer. Something about your very essence is unique and beneficial to the whole. And your whole life basically is one big journey of remembrance. And I believe right now, a lot of the people watching videos like this are about to wake up, are in the process of waking up, maybe have woken up already. And what this video is meant to do is to charge you up, to remind you of why you're here, to confirm what you already know, that all of this is part of the process. All of this is going to be okay. All of it, even the drama, even the chaos, even the confusion, even feeling cut off, is going to be connected to you being activated, you discovering your soul's purpose and getting on with the show. So the biggest indicator that you're going through this, and you might argue that everybody seems to be going through this period you discussed, Vic, what makes me different? And I'll tell you very clearly what makes you very different is that you know there's something more to it. Carl Jung would speak about synchronicity as an example. He would talk about what that is when there's something on the inside that lines up with something on the outside in a fairly miraculous way. But beyond that, there's a quality to the experience of the individual having it that has like this novel, sublime tone to it. Like it's a genuine glimpse into the magic and divinity that exists always underneath the mere coincidence. And what I'm saying for you is underneath your problem with work or your spouse or your health or whatever it is, or maybe you just feel like you're in a period of just confusion, like Like you don't really know where to go. You don't really know where to spread your roots, and everything you once did is not feeling in alignment, and you feel just kind of lost and stagnant. But underneath that, you sense there's a reason for it. Just like the folks experiencing synchronicity. It's not just, oh, wow, that's coincidental. There's something there. There's something, I don't maybe know what it is, but I can sense it. I can feel it in my soul. Most people, I think, are being given a similar opportunity to you, but they have yet to wake up to the fact that they are a co-creator of their life, that they have something to do with this, that they can transmute whatever's going on in their life and use it for growth and expansion and becoming more aligned with their essence. You already know all this, and you might just be feeling impatient. You might just not have planned to go through it again and wondering when it's going to end. You've been through all this before. You know there's a lot going on underneath the surface. You know where this leads, and that is the difference. I also know you've been through periods where there's a lot of inundation of awareness of what's not working in your life. And when it starts to happen, you may remain somewhat positive. Like, okay, there must be something better. There must be a better job on the horizon. Maybe there'll be another opportunity. It gets increasingly difficult to keep your head up when it's one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. This happened to me back in 2016, where I was working as a personal trainer, and I had built my entire life around, and not only the career, but also the identity of a fitness trainer. And I found myself going through this exact period of activation right before I started growing on YouTube, just to say. But I was going through it, and I was experiencing problems at the gym. I was feeling just jaded, unfulfilled, and just something inside of me was gnawing at me, communicating to me there's something else you came to do, and this ain't it. Quit lying to yourself. And there was this long period of just resistance of what was trying to exit my life. But I finally let it go, and I was so proud of myself. And it was actually very synchronistic. I remember the very last day of literally locking the door to my gym and like leaving the key up top for the owner to come grab the key. I went out to my truck, empty gym. I'm sitting in my truck, wondering, did I just make the dumbest mistake of my entire life because this is my career? I got in my truck, I turned the key on, and my favorite song of all time, Guns N' Roses' November Rain, it literally just, like the second I hit that key and the car, everything turned on, that song, it wasn't just halfway through, it like, bump, bump, it just bounced into it. And it was like, I felt hit like what I was saying earlier with the Carl Jung synchronicity, like, there was this knowingness that I made the right move. And then, like a week later, I had my third child. And I was in the hospital, and I was holding my third child for the first time. And I had this download. And the download was that my other career also had to go. I've always had two things. I was a grower, a medical marijuana grower, and I had a gym. And it was very, very difficult to let go of the gym for all the reasons I explained. Mainly my identity was wrapped up in it, but I finally did. I finally listened to Spirit, and the very next thing wasn't anything positive. It wasn't any guidance. It was this awareness that also your other career is not in alignment. And that's what I mean. That's when I started going into dark places. Like, what is happening to me? Why am I choosing to let go of all of the security components of my life? I just had a child this day. Am I losing my freaking mind? So my point is, you might be able to keep your head up for a little while. But when it's a domino effect and all these key pillars of your life start falling right before your eyes, it becomes very difficult to keep the faith. Especially when you don't feel the faith. You don't feel the divinity. And yet, 3 months later, my entire life was different. All positive. I was living where I wanted to live. I was in Michigan at the time, and I eventually found myself in San Diego, where I've always dreamt of living, but it's always seemed kind of expensive and like a pipe dream. I was doing what I love. My YouTube channel was growing. I was coaching people. I had freedom. I had more abundance. My life literally elevated to such an extreme, it's almost like feels like a fairy tale. I had no idea any of this was connected to this period, this dip before the shift, I call it. And what has become apparent to me is what I'm doing now is a result of that. This YouTube channel would not be here had I not gone through that, had I not run into the problems, because I would have just stayed where it was comfortable. And probably is the case for you as well. So if you relate to any of this, my friend, I share that story to convey to you just one last reminder to be patient. More will be revealed. There is a reason for all of this. And I know deep down you know that. Sometimes sometimes after you let go of a bunch of stuff, you get a flash inspiration that both excites you, but also maybe confuses you and scares you. Like for me, this idea of being a YouTuber, it was so dualistic in nature. Because on one hand, I thought, wow, that would be awesome. That would be super cool. I looked up to YouTubers. I watched a lot of YouTube. I had certain mentor figures I would watch, and I got so much out of it. And I always thought to myself, how amazing would that be to like have that as my career? I used to watch this one guy, Elliot Hulse, and he used to make these daily videos in his garage gym, which is why I liked him. He was also a personal trainer. And he'd have like his shirt off. He'd just be like riffing about philosophy or spirituality or weightlifting, whatever's on that guy's mind. He would just be sharing with this passion and this freedom. And it just looked like that guy is living a life so amazing that it doesn't even seem real, and yet there it is right before my eyes. And something about that connected with me. In fact, he had children, and I just thought, man, if I did that, I'd have so much time for my kids. So the idea, once the possibility of me doing that popped into my brain, I thought, whoa, dope. Wait, I'm not like Elliot. I don't have that charisma. I'm actually a shy, introverted guy who doesn't like attention, doesn't know jack squat about technology, doesn't know the first thing to do, busy with 3 children. My life is collapsing. How on earth is that ever going to be me? But when the conception of that flash inspiration, when it happened, I experienced that before. And I knew what it meant. And you do too. Even though I couldn't see how, we rarely see the how, do we? I couldn't see the how. I know what that feeling means. That feeling means that is you. In fact, Carl Jung talks about this. He talks about the idea of projection. You probably know about that. Oh, we project our issues onto other people. You might have run into parental figures that you cast your mother or your father issues on them. That's projection. And some people do it to you. And it's this weird thing we all do with our ego. But there's another part of it. We also, in addition to projecting our shadow, we also project our light. He calls it the gold. So what I was doing, I was projecting the gold onto Elliot. I said, wow, he has all these qualities. But there is this resonance there because I also have them. I didn't know it at the time, and I had to do some digging for sure, and some practicing, and I had to cultivate them to an extent, but they were there, the seeds, the DNA, the soul essence, got it. But yet, when you contrast it with like your mind's objections, your current circumstance, your past history, it can feel very, very far-fetched. In addition to this, if you're still here and you still relate, in addition to this, in some way, shape, or form, you are becoming aware that this involves more than you. This is not just about you and your hero's journey. This is also about the planet. This is also about the times we are living in. It's also about the fact that you somehow, in some way, came to assist. And it's more than just a personal ambition. Oh, I'd be cool to be on YouTube. It was beyond that. It was this calling. It was this knowing that I need to be on YouTube. I signed up at some point, it feels like anyways, to be on YouTube. It's my role. And how can I say no? Well, I did try though. I tried. You might be trying to. I tried saying no quite a bit actually. But in the end, that feeling will not go away. It'll only grow. And as it grows, it'll start to wreak havoc on all the other parts of your life that no longer align until you find yourself, as I did, with no choice. In fact, what's so ironic, I remember Elliot telling his story about that. He went through something similar where he was a fitness trainer. And I forgot why exactly, but he ended up either getting fired or quitting or something. And he found himself with, I think, 4 kids at the time, like no money, no idea what to do, no business experience whatsoever. And he had no choice but to pursue what his dream was, which was to own his own gym. And he began in a very humble way, which is also advice for you if that's the case too. It didn't just come all at once for him. He didn't just have 1 million followers. What he started doing initially was training people for free with equipment he gathered from a junkyard and lugged around in his old like Suburban or something. And he would meet these like teenager like football players at a park, not even asking permission if he could even train them there. He would just go there. He said, ask for forgiveness, not permission. And the point is, the very humble beginnings and having like, he had like no choice. I forgot why exactly, but there was no choice to go back. And you might find that as well. You might find that you just can't do it. You cannot go back to your corporate job. It's killing you. You may be out of work right now because it is stressing you out too much, affecting your health. It's no longer possible. And yet you still don't know how to make it happen. And that is the beauty. That is the activation right there. So many people watching video after video after video like this are waiting to be initiated by something outside of themselves. I was too. That's why I waited so freaking long. Maybe Elliot did as well. But what we ended up doing is taking our destiny into our own hands and realizing in the process we had the capability all along to make it happen. You know, eventually Elliot was able to got enough clients where he was able to lease himself a little space. And that's when he started making YouTube videos. And then his YouTube channel blew up randomly. And then he did all this other stuff. Same with me. All I started with was with my little cell phone, my tripod. I had a $10 microphone. Just throw videos up there. Didn't even know what I wanted to talk about. I had 5 YouTube channels. And eventually through just sloppy, consistent output and action, the guidance returned. The guidance returned in proportion to me owning my power. No longer projecting my gold out there. Many of us project it out there to the astrology. We're projected out there to the archangels or the higher selves or the whatever it is we sort of deem different than us. Once we realize that all of that is inside of us, we are no more less connected to that than anything. And we start to excavate it within ourselves and just reveal our power along the way, 1 foot in front of the other, stumbling countless times along the way, yet learning a lesson each and every time, slowly, but surely you look back and you wonder how it is you've reached this point now. And you get to a point where you are guided, you are inspired, that the road becomes a lot more clear. But along the way, this rite of passage revealed something you've always had but didn't know you had it. You have the power within yourself, and you've had it all along. And life is not going to mirror that until you choose to use it. And it's not about you. It's about the people you're meant to serve, the souls you're meant to awaken. It's what you came to do. And this challenging cycle of decay and breakdown and confusion will not end until you choose to end it, until you rise to the occasion. Because you can, because you chose to. Not only did you choose to as some noble gesture, but you probably thought it'd be neat. This is not a bad thing. This is actually very exciting. The hero's journey is oftentimes associated with challenges and pitfalls, and you meet a guide and all these like really hard times. And yeah, that's part of it. There ain't no denying that. You don't have to really look around too far to confirm that. But there's also something else that's really amazing. Once you start doing whatever it is you came to do, whether it's having 1 million YouTube followers or just a parenting style that you feel guided to do, or anything in between, whatever that is, whatever it looks like, it's going to give you the thing that you have been feeling like you're missing. You can try your best to deny all of this. Oh, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Who's this nut job YouTuber? You can go back to your life, and no matter what you do, mark my words, you will not feel fulfilled. You will know in your soul there's something missing. Something you're avoiding, something you're afraid to look at, but you know it's there, you know it's you, and you know there's no other path but that one. And if you just allow yourself to go in that direction, you'll see how awesome it is. There's nothing like, have you ever been to a rock concert? I love rock concerts, and I'm particularly fond of older rock. And a lot of my favorite bands, like Guns N' Roses, Alice in Chains, Tool, these bands, I always wear the t-shirts. I noticed something about them when they're on stage. For one, a lot of these, not all, but a lot of them were like really serious drug addicts. And it's a miracle they're alive. But you look at them on stage now, much, much older, and you realize that they've learned that they can get high off of music. And you could see just the force of energy just exploding out of them. The passion, the divine creativity just pours out of them in massive quantities. And they're like the vessel for it, for that energy. And you are too. You're going to have your own version of that. That's what it feels like. You don't have to be up on stage like Axl Rose to feel that. You living your life consciously in the way that feels aligned for you will give you that same feeling, whether you're tending to your garden quietly up in the mountains, or you're rocking the stages or writing a book, whatever it is, there's a channeling state. And that is what's been missing. A channeling state, I'll just say it, where you are channeling creative energy out there into the world in some way. And you know it's a contribution in some way to the whole. There's a fulfillment. There's you just become absorbed in it in the moment. There's nothing like it. It's a thrilling experience. And it's going to give meaning and depth and expansiveness and oftentimes abundance and happiness and cool relationships. All of that are like reflections of you being in this energy. And that energy has been waiting for you to entertain it, to do something with it. Thank you for watching, my friend. God bless. Peace.